Welcome back to our PTGui series. In the first episode, we explored the basics of creating panoramas, from setting up our images to stitching our first project. Today, we are diving deeper into the advanced features and tools that PTGui offers. Whether we are refining multi-row panoramas, handling complex overlaps, or working with dynamic scenes, this video is designed to give you practical solutions and more creative control. Stick around until the end, as we'll share bonus tips specifically for those working with ultra-wide-angle lenses. It's a simple yet effective method that can prevent common stitching issues and elevate your workflow. So let's get started. PTGui's advanced tools can be a game changer for solving issues that arise in more complex panorama projects. These features are especially helpful when automatic stitching doesn't quite work or when tackling ambitious multi-row compositions. Let's break them down. First up, image parameters. We'll find it here. Okay. This tool allows us to manually adjust exposure settings for individual images in a panorama. It's particularly helpful when we have used filters on a separate row, such as ND or polarizers on the bottom row to smooth water. Without intervention, PTGui may interpret these differences as additional bracketed exposures, sometimes leading to mismatches or tonal issues. To avoid it, we head to the Image Parameters tab and ensure that all images within each row share consistent settings, like ISO. We have ISO 50 here. Okay, it's the same for both rows. Then aperture. We have 11 for upper row and also for bottom row. Okay, it's correct. And exposure. So we have 3 steps exposure bracketing here: 1/20, 1/5, and 0.8 for a top row. And here we have the different settings for bottom row. If exposure parameters differ between rows, so we simply override them to ensure identical values for aperture, ISO, and bracketing across all rows, maintaining either 3 or 5 consistent shutter speeds. As we can see in this case, the ISO and aperture settings match, but the shutter speeds differ. The top row has shutter speed, as I mentioned already, 1/20, 1/5, and 0.8 seconds, while the bottom row has a different values. So we align them for both rows using either the top or bottom as the standard. Simply, we select all underexposed shots, we'll click and update, and we repeat for neutral and overexposed images. It's very simple. So right now we'll find all underexposed images in the bottom row. So we're looking for 1 second. 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Okay, it's done. And oh, sorry, one more here. And in the upper row we have 1/20. So 1/20 here as well. Okay, the same for neutral exposures. We're looking for 4 seconds. And in the upper row we have 1/5. Now we are looking for the longest time, 16 seconds. Okay, it was the last one. And in the upper row we have 0.8. Sometimes, even when exposure parameters are consistent across rows, issues may still arise in multi-row panoramas. In such cases, an alternative solution is to intentionally adjust the bracketing parameters for one row, just only for one row, creating a 6 or 10-step bracketing set. While it doesn't guarantee success every time, it can sometimes help, especially in scenarios where light conditions change rapidly during shooting with ND filters. Next, we move to mask. Okay, so masking. This tool is essential for eliminating stitching errors such as unwanted reflections, blurry edges, or overlapping elements that don't align perfectly. By using red mask to exclude areas or green mask to give them reference, we control which parts of each image are incorporated into the final panorama. This feature is especially useful with wide-angle lenses, where edge distortion can cause alignment issues. For instance, if we tilt the camera significantly downward in the bottom row, masking out distorted areas ensures a cleaner stitch. Masks can be also saved here, okay, or also deleted, of course, and reused in other projects, making the process even more efficient. Okay, I will delete it right now. Go to Project Assistant, enable HDR mode, we know it already. Okay, and go back. So here we have upper row and bottom row. So in this case, for example, so we start with the bottom row. Okay, upper row, bottom row. Okay. So in this case, we mask out approximately the upper half of each photo in the bottom row, specifically the leaked photo from 3 exposures. It helps avoid stitching problems in the background, e.g. mountains, like we have here, okay? And reducing the number of stitching issues with water, minimizing seams on the surface. The water will then come exclusively from one row instead of blend of exposures from both rows. So, okay. So now we have a red color, red mask. Yeah, we'll use it for nearly half of the photo. And the bottom row, if you want to delete it, or this way. Now let's talk about control points. These are automatically generated by PTGui to align overlapping sections between images. However, low contrast scenes like foggy landscapes or starry skies might require us to add them manually. It's essential to find at least 2 matching points between neighboring photos. When the scene has some contrast, PTGui will often add more points automatically. The recommended minimum is 4 points. To add control points, hold the left mouse button to activate the extreme zoom feature, allowing precise placement. We need to identify matching spots such as edges or distinct objects on both images. So we go to control points, we'll find neighboring photos, 3 and 6, perfect. And now we need to find one spot, for example here, and the same spot here as well. Perfect, it's done. So the first control point is ready. Now we need to find more points. So for example here. Okay, and it was edited automatically. And let's go for 4th point. For example here. Okay, perfect. So now we have the minimum 4 control points. We can continue adding points to further improve alignment. Ideally, points should be distributed across the foreground, here, midground, but just water here, and background. If PTGui places points on moving elements like clouds or waves, we simply delete those points and instead focus on static features such as rocks, mountains, I don't know, trees, whatever. This simple adjustment can significantly improve stitching precision, particularly in difficult conditions. When other approaches fail, the optimizer can be our final option. Located in the left-hand menu, it's here. This advanced tool recalculates alignment and perspective to fix problematic panoramas. Before using it, We save the project, okay, it's here, and verify the resolution to ensure no unexpected changes occur. Dynamic scenes, such as water or clouds, often result in invisible seams when stitched. PTGui's individual layers export option allows us to extract each layer using in the panorama for manual blending in Photoshop. To achieve it, we ensure appropriate export settings. So create panorama, and here we have settings, enabling both blend planes and individual layers. And of course, we want PSB, we know it already, 16 bits, compression, none, okay, like that. And now for the bonus tip. When shooting with ultra-wide lenses, especially focal lengths between, 12 to 16mm on full-frame cameras, it's essential to be aware of edge distortion. This distortion becomes more pronounced in multi-row panoramas, where the camera is tilted sharply upward or downward between rows. To minimize these issues, we ensure overlaps of 30 to 40% between frames. It provides PTGui with sufficient data and reduces alignment problems. Additionally, consider cropping the edges of source images before stitching to remove the most distorted areas. It offers PTGui better data to align. After stitching, a final crop can refine the composition. This approach is particularly beneficial for multi-row panoramas, where significant tilts between rows can enhance distortions. Keeping these tips in mind during shooting can save time and frustration in post-processing. We hope these insights and techniques help you refine your panorama workflow and achieve stunning results. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more tutorials and photography tips. Got questions or challenges with your projects? Leave them in the comments and we might feature them in upcoming video. Until next time, happy stitching!
By the way, have you heard that you can join us on our exclusive photography expeditions to Lofoten in Iceland? If you want to know more, check the link below.